All right. Welcome everybody and good afternoon to Sports Careers Turn Your Passion into Profession, brought to you by the Alliance Los Angeles. The Alliance is a special partnership between the 11 major pro sports teams in LA. They came together to show that LA was united to fight for social justice and make sure that all communities in LA have the resources they need to thrive. One goal of the Alliance is to show youth and young athletes all of the amazing careers that are available to them on these sports teams. If you keep working hard, keep working at being excellent at your sport and also academically, there's definitely a place for you in the sports industry. Today, you're going to hear from professional staff of the Clippers, Sparks, LAFC, the Galaxy, and the Dodgers, and learn about the many different things you can do to work in the sports industry and all the amazing opportunities that there are for you. So to put things in perspective, there are 17 players on the active roster of the Clippers, but the Clippers actually employ over almost 300 professional staff. You're going to hear from the Clippers later. So make sure that y'all are paying attention and stick through this event the whole way through because we have prizes that we're giving away throughout this entire event. Okay, but to get things started, to kick things off and to see if y'all are paying attention, we have a couple poll questions for everybody. So the first poll question is, how many teams are in the Alliance? So how many major pro sports teams are in LA right now, or in the Alliance? Okay. Okay, so mostly everybody was paying attention. That's right. We have 11 teams in the LA area. You know what that means? You have 11 professional sports teams that have hundreds of jobs that people can work at and people do work at even right now, right? And isn't that exciting to know that you can actually continue working in the sports industry even if you don't play for the actual team. Okay, so now we have another question coming up. I think it's going to be a bit easier for everybody. When can you start learning about how to work for one of these teams? You got it right now. Y'all are all already started working to learn more about what it takes to work in the sports industry. So I'm glad that most everybody got that one right. And let's keep things moving. Let's keep things moving. Now, just as a special thank you for showing up here after school and on Zoom. We know Zoom fatigue is a real thing. So really appreciate y'all coming out and tuning in for this. So we do have some prizes we're going to give away. And how it works is we have, if you can see on the screen, we actually have a wheel of all your names, all the students who are here, your names, and we're going to spin the wheel. And if the wheel lands on your name, then you're going to win a prize from one of the teams. Y'all ready? Naya, I think it's pronounced Naya Vasquez. Congratulations. You're going to win a prize from one of the teams. We're going to follow up with you right after the event. So don't go anywhere. We're going to let you know what you won, okay? We got one more prize right now, okay? So let's give that wheel a spin. Angelica. Okay, cool. Angelica is winning. Right on. So stay tuned. We have a couple more of those prizes coming up. But before we actually jump into the panel, if some of y'all can just even type or even ask the question, just some of the places that you're coming from, some of the schools that you're coming from, or who or where you're representing, maybe even your neighborhoods. Okay, we got View Park in the house. View Park again. Walter Reed Middle School is representing. USC Hybrid High, oh, they're coming. Warren High School, that's what's up. All the way from Lancaster Charter School. Animal Jackson Robinson, Walter Reed, View Park, LA's Promise, Santa Clara University. Wow, we're representing from all over the Southland. That's what's up. We got Chatsworth Charter High School, Thousand Oaks, TO representing City Honors, Washington Adventist University. So wow, y'all are really coming from all over. So thank you so much for representing. You know, like I said before, like the 11 Alliance teams are all united to make sure that young people do have a chance and opportunity to work in the sports industry. And, you know, I think we're actually going to keep things, St. Anne's, I see you there, Golden Valley. So to keep things kind of moving along and to make sure that everybody has a chance to listen to these sports teams, we're going to roll into the panel.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Oscar Delgado. I'm Vice President of Partnerships and Events at the LA Foundation. I'm excited to be with so many of you today on behalf of the Alliance to explore careers in the sport industry and learning from the best and those professionals that work for some of the professional teams here in Los Angeles. I myself grew up in Los Angeles. I was an athlete and learned at a young age that commitment and follow through are important when looking to reach success. And I know that our panelists are no strangers to that formula of success. I myself was fortunate to have a successful athletic career, first as a young athlete, like some of you, and then going on to compete in college in springboard and platform diving at the University of Wyoming, and then later trained at Indiana University, where I pursued an Olympic dream and was able to compete in 2 world championships. When my athletic career ended, I was excited to begin a career in professional sports, which I believe I learned really that there are other like-minded people, other people that have that same competitive spirit. And so I surrounded myself with those like-minded individuals. I began my career working with the Los Angeles Dodgers, where I concluded a decade run and worked in 3 different departments. And I got to know the ins and outs of working for a professional sports team. Now, we're all familiar with the players that put on the uniforms, that are on the field, that compete on the court. But behind those scenes, there are hundreds of employees and leaders making their livelihoods working for professional teams, and they're staying connected to sports. But they're sometimes really the folks that make the magic happen. Everyone you will hear from today were once where you are. I promise you, they were once a high school student. They were trying to figure out what they want to do with their lives. What do they want to do with their careers? And they were realistic. Can I be a professional athlete? And then at some point, someone helped them, or they learned that they could be part of this giant industry. We'll talk about this more with our panel and also learn the best ways that you can balance that career chase with your schoolwork, your family life, and your athletic career. I know you all have a lot going on in your lives right now, and it's been a tough year. And so I'd like to commend you for taking the time to educate yourself and for joining us today and investing in your future. So with that said, let me introduce our panel, and then we'll get going here. So our first panelist joins us from the LA Galaxy. He's part of Major League Soccer. He's the senior editor, and his name is Adam Serrano. Adam, thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you so much. It's an honor to be here.
Another member of the big umbrella that Major League Soccer is Marcus McDougald, and he's the Vice President of Creative and Branded Content. Welcome, Marcus.
Happy to be here. Appreciate you having me.
Marcus and I met each other a few years back. I think we were both on our way to watching that first game in Seattle. So Marcus has been on a pretty awesome journey with the birth of a new team in Los Angeles. Joining us as well is Danelle Winfield with the Los Angeles Sparks. She's the Senior Director of Game Operations and Entertainment and Promotions. And she's been with the LA Sparks for going on 5 years. Is that right, Danelle?
Yes, time flies. Time flies. Lots of fun. Just happy to be here to speak about my experience.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us. And then also representing the Los Angeles Clippers, we have DJ Dents. DJ, welcome.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
So let me start with you. I think you have one of the coolest jobs in all of sports. I've seen you at games, and I almost feel like you got a whole party right in front of you as you're giving shout outs to the 300 level and the 200 level. And so let's start with you. Tell us a little bit about your role, because I think it's really unique.
Well, my role with the LA Clippers, I am the official DJ and host of the LA Clippers. So I am in charge of getting the party going. So like you said, when you come in, you hear the music, you hear the make some noise, you hear the defense, you hear the, hey, anybody want to win $10,000? Anybody want to win a brand new car? I'm that guy. Let's just put it that way. This is now my 15th season, which is amazing. It's crazy. There's people that I still talk to this day. They're like, oh yeah, you've been there for about 5 or 6 years, right? I'm like, no, it's 15 years. So I've seen a lot. We've given away a lot. And I just love it. I love to interact with the fans. The fans become family, and that's really what it's all about. I've seen kids grow up, and become young adults. So that's a little bit about me.
Do you think you would say that you're someone that gets fueled by people, the energy of people?
Definitely get fueled by people. I'm a people person just in general. It's kind of like a call and response. If I say hello, I kind of want a hello back. If whatever it is that I'm doing, I want you to be as excited as I am about the prize that I give, or about the words that are just coming out of my mouth. You know what I mean? I love people. I like to kind of break their shell to let them know, like, hey, it's okay for you to be relaxed around me. It's okay to be relaxed in this environment, and wherever it is, it doesn't have to be in the arena. It can be a one-on-one. I just want people to know that I'm easy to talk to. I'm fun, and you don't have to hold back when it comes to me.
Okay. I know a lot of the kids that are watching, they're thinking, well, I have this type of personality or this type of interest. Let me switch over to Marcus here for a minute. Marcus, your role, you're more strategic, right? You're more of a planner, and you're brainstorming things. Is that right? Your role, you're the vice president of creative and branded content. So am I right in saying that you're more of the thinker and trying to see the vision?
There's definitely a lot of, sort of 30,000 foot strategic development involved in it. There's also a lot of on the ground work as well. I think, the key to being a successful brand developer is to be able to take a concept, an abstract concept, and to make it accessible for people, and then to meet those people where they are and celebrate that concept. So I think that's really been a goal of ours from day one is to reflect the city and create aspirational moments for the city, and then to celebrate in the streets with our fans.
Staying in the MLS family, let me switch to Adam. Adam, why don't you tell us a little bit about your role? And am I correct? You're approaching a decade with the ball club?
Yeah, I am really close to a decade, which is a crazy thing to say. I feel like when I started, I was like, oh yeah, it's that young kid that works for the club, and now I'm like, oh wow, the people that I manage were in high school during my first moments with the club, and so I'm like, oh my god, wow, everything sort of changed. But to kind of sort of get into what my role is, I'm the senior content editor, and I'm also the social media lead for the club. So I handle, our day-to-day social media aspects from, every single sort of social media platform. And I'm also sort of that content lead when it comes to kind of creating our content, be video, creative, written or social or otherwise. So I think that my tenure with the club has certainly sort of seen me kind of flex from a lot of different roles, but it's sort of become more about, community building and finding different ways to sort of tell the LA Galaxy's story. And I think that kind of similar to sort of what Marcus does in sort of creating moments, highlighting moments, and, showcasing, people's experiences through the lens of the beautiful game.
Awesome. Thank you. Welcome. Danilo, let me switch over to you as you're part of the WNBA family. As I look at everyone's titles and roles, and I see your title and role, and I think you're someone, and correct me if I'm wrong, you got to be real organized and tight, right? You're a lot of people don't know this, right? When you go as a fan to experience a game, you're watching the game, but then there's a pause. But it's a lot like a script, right? There's a script that like a play or a theater type of mentality when executing a game. You're the senior director of game operations and entertainment and promotions. Anytime I ever hear somebody have a title with the word "and," I always think, oh, they're big time because they do this and that. So tell us a little bit about your role.
Well, in the W, of course, we're a little bit smaller. So in my position, I wear multiple hats. So just funneling through like the game operation side, that's literally logistics, and being able to make sure that we're presenting a show that intrigues your fans, that gets them excited. Because as you know, the fans impact the players. So the louder we have it and the more engaged they are, the better home court advantage for us. So with that entails anything from giving direction to our in-arena hosts, our DJ, that's video content, that's PAs, that's the entertainment side with our dance crews. So that all encompasses that game operations and entertainment side. We try and just keep the venue hype. So as much energy that we can pour into the game, that's just our job, and that's what I oversee. The promotional side kind of leads into some of the events. So like if we had like a kickoff party for the season, I coordinate and do everything for a media day. I currently am overseeing the projects at LA Convention Center because that's where we're starting to play our season this year. So building out that entire arena, I'm a part of that process. So essentially just trying to be a jack of all trades and trying to have the best home court advantage.
So let me stay with you here. As you know, we got an audience full of young adults. What did you want to be or do when you were in high school? So you got a big role. You're managing, you're coordinating, you're making sure there's energy. What were you like in high school, and was this a path you wanted to go on?
In high school, I was quiet. I was more introverted. I was a nerd. I would like Pokemon cards. They were my thing. I know they're coming back around these days and at some high prices, and I can't seem to find mine. I was in yearbook. So organization and creativity was always like a part of my strength. I was senior class president. So you can see I'm progressing slowly out of my shell versus being like a freshman. I did start playing varsity basketball when I was a freshman, but I realized that that's not my true gift. But when I found out that I can be behind the scenes and basically still be involved with the sport, that really kind of helped blend my love for basketball and the game overall.
Did you play multiple sports then?
Well, growing up, I played a little bit of softball. You know how your parents try to throw you in different sports and they want to see what sticks. Yeah, softball didn't stick. Basketball stayed a little bit longer. Like I said, I played freshman year, but I knew it wasn't for me. I knew if I was offered like a scholarship or to play at the collegiate level, it's something I would be like, this is not me. So you just got to figure out what's best for you and follow your heart. And that'll lead you into some of the best decisions. Like you have to be open to experiment different things and try different things. And then you'll be able to say, yes, I like that. No, I like that. Or let me figure out more about this particular area.
You know, one thing we talk about at the LA4 Foundation and the Play Equity Fund, and I know the Alliance stands for this, is access. So access for kids is really important, but at the same time, I think a lot of kids nowadays and parents, they're making their kids specialize in one sport, right? Let me just throw this out to the group. How many of you actually participated in sport, or what sports did you participate in?
I can go first, which is kind of silly. I played soccer as a kid. My dad was a big basketball player, so I played basketball, but he pretty quickly learned that I wasn't as good as him, and he's like, "Oh, maybe we'll find something else for you." So I actually played hockey as a kid, so I was like the lone little Mexican kid on a hockey team, which I always thought was pretty funny. But like my first love was always soccer, and so once my hockey career ended because I had a knee injury, I just like pivoted right back.
Okay.
Yeah, I can go. I grew up playing soccer and skateboarding at a very young age. Pretty much did that up until high school, where I pivoted to playing American football and did freestyle wrestling. And then also, I actually lived in Northern California, and I was on the snowboard team for my high school, which is kind of a fairly rare high school level sport. But that was kind of one of our winter activities. So yeah, those were my primary sports growing up.
It's awesome. I actually, through the work that we do, I've learned that skateboarding it's a non-traditional sport, but I've come to realize that some of the toughest athletes are skateboarders. There's a whole art culture and again, non-traditional, but anytime I see kids skateboarding, I think, man, they could basically do anything they want, right? They could be a football player, they could be a basketball player, they could be a snowboarder or a wrestler. That's awesome.
Yeah. The mentality is definitely, get up, try again, fall, get up, try again. And so that repetition and that comfort of failing and continuing, I think, is sort of embedded in those who love the sport.
And to go into to skateboarding, like with you saying, it really builds the endurance. It's you don't realize it because you're trying to get back there, you're trying to get back on that board, you're trying to flip, you're trying to, you're trying to just do whatever you can to make yourself the best at it, but you're not realizing that you're building your endurance, you're building your stamina. I did the skateboarding thing. I also did the BMX stuff for a little while. Baseball was always my sport. Loved baseball. I did karate. We had family. My family still owns a karate school in Inglewood, and we just, baseball was my thing though. Like I was headed like, you know what? I'm gonna drop everything, go to baseball. I would say I had a gift at freshman, 14 years old. I was a pitcher and was throwing 84 miles an hour as a pitcher and was looked at. So my freshman year was a guy by the name of Royce Clayton's senior year in high school. And he was drafted by the Padres at that time. So there were two scouts there and they saw the game that I was pitching at. We were the freshman game. So we were of course first, and the scouts were just watching the game, just talking amongst each other. And they looked and came over and asked the umpire, like, is this kid throwing what I think he's throwing? Or like, yeah. And they came over, both guys came over, handed me a card and said, give this to your father. You are going to the majors when you graduate. You stay healthy. That's what it's going to be. I had my eyes set. And then of course you say, all right, well, I got to stay active. I played football going into the next year. Crack. Got hit, went out for a post pattern, jumped up, the quarterback overshot me. And on my way down, I got hit high and low in two different directions, fractured two discs, didn't realize it, kept it quiet. It hurt like crazy. Started baseball back up again for that next season. I was there for the home opener, and this is my sophomore year now. Pitched, delivered the ball 3 feet in front of me, fell to the ground, couldn't feel my legs. Didn't know what was going on because those two discs were fractured and it was pinching a nerve. So got carried off. About 15 minutes later, started getting the tingling back. Went to the doctor and they said, oh, well, did you suffer a hit? Did you suffer a blow? Like you have some major stuff going on down here. Had to think back to football, kept it quiet all that time. So to say all that, my career that I thought I was going in was definitely not the career that I'm in now.
Well, that just shows right there how life can turn, right? I've always thought when it comes to professional sports, a lot of folks don't realize this, but there's the action on the field, right? You're a player, but then there's also the reaction and the fan experience, and then there's the stuff that happens outside the arena or the stadium, which is everything has to do with community. This forum we have here is to just kind of get some of these young adults to start thinking and considering, right? Having a backup plan or considering these other avenues in sport. Why don't we go around the room here and just share with us, 30 seconds, 60 seconds or less. What's the coolest part about your job? And also, what is the toughest thing about your job? So, Danelle, why don't we start with you? Coolest thing and also the hardest thing.
Coolest thing is being able to conceptualize and bring something to life. Like everything that I plan, put together, communicate, envision, I get to see the audience reaction. I get to see people be excited. I get to see our players excited to get on the court. Like just that genuine reaction to everything. The other side to that is it's live. So although you plan A to Z and it's just like, okay, this is going to be dope. It looks this way. We did rehearsals. We're good to go. When those lights go on, you just have to be prepared for anything. So that's the other side to it where I'm just like, okay, I even tell my interns, I said, I need you on plan A. I'll be on B, C, D, E, F, G. So I'm looking at things that are happening and I'm catching them before, it really hits the fan. And sometimes I get the opportunity to give them a chance to learn because you learn by your mistakes. So having interns underneath my umbrella, I'm able to throw them to the fire just a little bit so that they can learn and they have the opportunity to basically embed that mistake, share it and be like, you know what, I'm not going to do that again. So it's that chance to see things come to life, but then also to know that, hey, it could turn left on you and you got to be ready for it.
Okay. Awesome. DJ, what about you? What's the coolest part about your job and also the most challenging?
Coolest part about my job, kind of like what Danelle was saying, it's just the execution, the fans enjoying the game, enjoying your presentation. 20,000 fans is a joy to be in front of every game. Being ready to give away a car, have it ready to go, the money, the t-shirts. I mean, fans just want to feel appreciated. They want to get whatever it is that we have going on out there. So that would be a cool thing. Obviously, meeting the players, being able to do things for them and building those relationships with some of the performers that we have. Those are great things. Some of the hard things, I know that I would probably have someone like Danelle in my ear, like telling me to wrap it up. If I'm thinking I'm on a good roll, like, hey, we're going to go ahead, we're going to give away this. And she's in my ear going, no, we're coming back to play. I need you to wrap it up, hit the sponsor. I need you to do this and that. So those are one of those challenging things. Or let's just say a natural disaster or something has happened. We have to know how to present that. We still have to know how to be present, and we still have to know how to understand it, still let people know like, hey, you know what? It's okay to cheer. It's okay to be here. It's okay to have fun. So, just that can really be some of the challenging parts of it, and if you're not prepared, that's definitely challenging, so make sure that you study before you go in, because just like with anything, I don't want to tag the wrong sponsor for a promotion or anything.
A lot of action, Marcus, how about you? What's the coolest part about your job and also the most challenging?
Well, I think DJ put it well earlier when he said, fans become family. I think to see our community grow and to show up to a stadium of 22,000 plus and to see folks that I remember, running into folks that I remember when we had, say, 10 fans or, at one point 100 fans, and to connect with them. It's something that is really, really super valuable to me. Another component to that, I think, is not only just seeing our fan base and supporter base develop, but also the personal development that I see on my own team. So working with various types of creatives, it's from photographers to videographers to designers, watching them develop and mature and to come into their own. And to be able to even present their ideas more clearly and diplomatically, that brings me a lot of joy. The toughest part, I think, is probably just preparing mentally for the unforeseen. I think obviously this past year was, for many of us, one of the toughest years, and I think just like building up those muscles to sort of be creative, to take basically day by day, given that a lot of the information that was coming to us was we were learning it as it was arriving. So just trying to find a way to continue to be valuable and to provide value for our fan base in a time where we don't have, a game on the pitch, I think was very, very challenging.
Certainly, this past year, I think we've learned a lot about a lot. Adam, how about you? What's the coolest part, and what's the most challenging part about your role?
That's a good question. I would say, the coolest part, kind of similar to what I think everybody's kind of said, is sort of building a community. I mean, as somebody from Los Angeles, LA sports teams, mean something special to me. My first memories were I was at a Lakers game with my parents met at Dodger Stadium. So, I mean, LA sports mean everything to me. And so building that community and fostering it and seeing it grow is just so important to me. And when I see a piece of content, really hit with our fans, and I see people really see themselves in that experience, that shared identity is something that's so special and kind of gives you the fuel to go through all the difficult moments. And I think that not only applies to the fans, but it also applies to my team, and sort of teaching them about these traditions and teaching them about, where we want to go and where we've been. And I think that seeing that growth in them is just something that's so special to me. I mean, I was a former teacher, so I think that having the ability to kind of teach, the people that work under me, those things is so meaningful to me. The difficult part, I mean, I always say this with any, person who's worked in social or worked in marketing community, is you're kind of putting yourself out there, and you have to be unafraid to fail. You have to be willing to deal with those difficult moments. And I tell my employees, I don't want to see you fail, but I think that those moments are good for you, and they create lessons that you can then grow from. So I think that I always say, don't ever hold something too much. You gotta eventually sort of let it go. But those moments that we think are the most difficult are the ones that make us who we are. And so I think that's just sort of a way to say that I think that, putting yourself out there is difficult, but in the end, you get paid, I think, tenfold. So.
Well said. I see everyone agreeing and nodding here. I think LA sports is extremely special. We're the sports and entertainment capital of the world, and I think this collective, the alliance, the fact that each of you are part of a club that has a special brand, and there's so much behind that. The fact that all these teams come together, I think, just elevates everyone. As we approach our end here, several of you referenced the challenges, the difficulties, the roller coaster that the last year was. As professional sports evolves, and all of you have your own stories and you've been on your own journeys, what would you like to see more of? And keeping in mind that we have an audience of young adults watching this, what do you want to see more of in your respective league or your ball club when it comes to the employees and the people that are around you? Adam, let's start with you.
I sort of look at this. I always think back to my own experience growing up in Los Angeles. I want to see in my league and within my club, more diversity. I want to see more faces that represent the city of Los Angeles. That's very important to me. I think that working in sports, at least when I started, was a kind of a homogeneous type of thing, and it wasn't necessarily what I had expected growing up. And I think that it's on people like myself and everyone on this panel to sort of create and enact change so that the people that live in this city and live in other places can feel represented within their sports teams, because I think this is all about community, and this is all about identity and sort of seeing yourself through the community. And I think that with the Galaxy, they've undergone a change. And I think that hopefully, I think with my own work, people have started to see that club evolve and see themselves more in that brand. And I know that with all of the other clubs, the Sparks, LAFC, and the Clippers, I think that they've also gone under similar changes, and people see that and respect it, and it's part of who they are. It's part of creating a community, and so I think that's what I want to see. And I also always want to see, on a different note, I always want to see more creativity, more people, having fun. I think that's why I have my employees use TikTok so much, to sort of be up to date on the fun trends. I kind of get into it, and it's really exciting. And I just tell them, so there's so many different ways to tell a story, and you can tell it in a multitude of ways. And so I always say, let's do that more. Let's have more stories, more diversity, and more understanding for who we are and who the city is.
Piggybacking on that answer, Marcus, let me turn to you. Being part of a club that's a little more young compared to the rest of the clubs, how did you get into your career? What was that spark?
The spark for me was probably World Cup 2014. I was in Brazil, and I was there for about 40 days, and just soaking up the game, soaking up the culture, and seeing that there was clearly an economy for this game that I grew up playing, not having realized prior that I could potentially even work in that economy. So coming back to LA later that year, it was October 30th, 2014 to be exact, MLS announced LAFC's bid. And, I think that is, the moment where I said, okay, there's a new club in town. We don't really know exactly what this club is going to look like. I don't understand, entirely clearly what the brand, mission, vision, and values is yet, but I think it's something that I could contribute to. And so, just actively contributing to something larger than myself was something that I was really craving at the moment.
DJ and Danielle, let me wrap up with the two of you. DJ, you've been with your ball club for several years, and I feel like you got this perspective, right? Because you see the whole arena and you see the different employees. What do you think kids should do to position themselves to try to enter into the sport industry from your perspective? How do you think high school kids, college kids can prepare themselves? What should they do?
I mean, first, I would always say ask questions to figure out, is this something that I want to do? Be interested in that field first. Be interested, be willing to want to learn and understand what it takes to be in there. Like you said previously, everyone's not going to become that star basketball player. That's not going to happen. It's just not in the cards for everyone. But you can still be in the sport that you love. And there's so many ways to make money and go so far, go even further than the actual basketball players or baseball players. Sometimes you'll stay longer than some of these players have moved around from team to team. So I would say be interested in whatever field that's going to be with that sport. Find out if there's internships. Most of the teams have internships. Find your way in, learn from where you get in to where you want to go. So that's where it comes back, where I always say, ask questions, because someone can come in, get their foot in the door, be an intern for the Clippers. And I've seen it happen before where they come in and they're on the game ops side or game presentation side, and they're there for 2 or 3 years, but then they see another direction that they want to go. They see someone walking around in sales and they say, oh, well, how do I help fill these seats? And then from there they go to sales, and then from there they become a manager. And then from there, it just keeps rolling and rolling. So I would say be interested, reach out. There's so many people in the organization that you can reach out to. Intern, paid intern, do whatever it is that you need to do to get your foot in the door, to learn, and then take that with you. So you may not stay with this team. You may get that knowledge from this one team and end up going to another team and just branching out and being the main person or the head person in charge over there because of what you learned from us or from another team. You know what I mean? So.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Yeah, I everything you just said, I agree. I think it's positioning yourselves, right, and being persistent. Then I'll give you the last word. You have a staff that reports to you. What's the best advice that you would want to give to our audience and young adults? And then also a second question is, what advice would you give yourself if you could go back in time when you were in high school?
Got it. For my staff, I always tell them there's respect there, right? I want them to come in, feel creative, do what they do. I'm here to support 110%. I'm here to take direction from the top, kind of filter below myself. But at the end of the day, I'm on the creative side. I'm not going to step on the video side. I'm not going to step on, entertainment side, because they have their vision and everything is aligning. So I never want to stifle that. I'm very aware of that communication. At the same time, when I am delivering like specific messages and knowing specific things have to get done, then that's when I'm able to say like, hey, this is what it is. And, I know, you want to be a little bit more creative here and there, but this is what we have to do for this. But I try and leave them with as much creative freedom as possible. And that tends to make everybody happy. It tends to make everybody work 10 times harder. It just, the camaraderie is there, the energy is there. It just changes the game. And then you said advice for myself at a younger age, high school?
Yep.
Okay, that's perfect. Look, if I were talking to myself, I'm like, Danelle, be patient, learn everything. You will learn everything over time. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to fit in with everybody. Continue to be you. Continue to grow, and you'll cross some hardships along the way, but it's only going to make you stronger. Like that, it's going to happen. And kind of channeling back to what Den said, I started with the Houston Rockets, and so with that experience as part-time game operations, then full-time game operations, worked with them for 3 seasons full-time, did all-star games here and there for different types of experience, got to LA, and then now all that experience that I learned, I have to kind of put into now. Like it was go time when I hit LA March 2017. I had to automatically set up ring and banner ceremonies because the Sparks won the championship the previous season. So I'm channeling everything that I've learned along the way, and it kind of goes back into even like high school stuff. I'm thinking about that yearbook format and how people read and look at visuals and everything. So all of your experience, high school on, just log it away and continue to learn more.
Said. Thank you. Yeah, if I'm hearing you right, and I know this from my experience, it's working in pro sports. It's a marathon, right? Not a sprint, and it's certainly a lifestyle. So the one thing that just sitting here with you all and sharing this time is I hear your passion, and I know that the LA sports fans are grateful because there's hundreds of folks, leaders like yourselves, that are behind the athletes and supporting the action on the playing field and in the stands and outside the arena. So thank you so much. I know it won't be the last time we all see each other, but I hope the next time we do see each other, it's going to be in person. So thank you all. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you, Oscar.
Thank you.
All right. Wow. There was so much great information in that panel. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Adam from the Galaxy, Marcus from LAFC, Danelle from the Sparks, and DJ Dents from the Clippers. And a special thank you to Oscar from LA84 for moderating that terrific panel. So yeah, we got quite a few questions that came in. We weren't able to get to all of them. I'm hoping to roll in some of those questions for our next guest. And then we're going to give everybody a chance to ask our next guest a little bit of a Q&A as well. So if you had some questions for the panel that weren't answered, hold tight and then type them in again for the next section. But before we bring on our next guest, that's right, you got that right. We got another giveaway. So for those of you sticking it out and sticking through, you have another chance to win a prize, okay? Okay, so let's give this a spin. Let's see what we're having next. Let's see what the next winner is going to be. Anthony Valverde. Okay, Anthony, what school are you hailing from? What organization are you with? Oh, Anthony wasn't on. So I guess we got to spin again. Okay, we got a winner this time. We got to keep on spinning. See, people got to, got to stick it out. You got to stay through the whole program. We're going to keep spinning until we land on somebody that's that's here and present. Okay, great. Beverly Footman. We have a winner. Stay tuned and we'll get back to you after the program, and we're going to tell you what you've won, okay? Right on, exciting. Okay, everybody, thank you all again for sticking with us. We do have another very special guest on their way. And next up, we have Tiffany Rubin from the Los Angeles Dodgers Foundation, who's going to have, me and her are going to have a bit of a one-on-one chat. Then afterwards, there's going to be a chance for y'all to ask Tiffany some questions. Okay, and with that, Tiffany, can you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your story?
Yes, thank you for having me, Otha. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited for all the great students that are stepping up and joining these conversations with the team. But a little bit about who I am, where I started. I grew up in Monterey Park with my parents and older sister. Was extremely active in sports, specifically basketball and softball, played at a very young age. And just like kind of some of the panelists touched on, parents were just trying to see what stuck. I was typically a pretty shy child growing up, but when I played sports, I felt like another person. So I'm sure some of you kind of feel that when playing, but it felt like a fire was lit inside of me, and I was able to lock in and block out everything else that was going on. So sports was really my outlet. After high school, I continued playing softball at the collegiate level. It was my goal to be the starting shortstop of a Division I school. I actually attended Pasadena City College for 1 year, and then received a full scholarship to play at Morgan State University. And I accomplished my goal of being a Division I athlete and becoming the starting shortstop as well, my first year there. Also, just want to shout out Morgan State University, the softball team over the weekend. They won the MEAC Conference Championship, which is the first time ever in school history. So we are all very, very excited. We had a lot of group chats going with our alumni. And I think as much as I was scared to move across the country, I knew softball had my back and was going to support me. At the time, I thought Morgan State was just going to play softball, getting my education, but later in life, I now realize it was so much more than that. I got to meet so many amazing people with so many different backgrounds and travel to places I never thought I would go because of softball. What is my current role? So I am the Director of Youth Programs for the Los Angeles Dodgers Foundation. I oversee 2 programs. One is called Dodgers RBI, which is a sports-based youth development program that uses the power of sports to provide critical resources and services to communities. So we have over 10,000 boys and girls across 75 locations that are playing baseball and softball for free, while we provide all uniforms, equipment, and programming to help, and also providing education and health support. So we're doing college tours, college education, we're doing eye screenings, dental screenings, everything that you need that will encompass a holistic program and ultimately allow these kids to thrive on and off the field. The other program I oversee is the Dodgers Dream Fields program. So we build and refurbish baseball and softball fields in communities. To date, we have 54 total fields. We do high school baseball fields, softball fields, universally accessible fields. So it's pretty cool to be able to kind of see the planning and then see these beautiful fields unveiled, finished, and really revive these green spaces in a lot of communities.
Thank you so much. Super cool. You went to Morgan State. I actually went to Howard University.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So I went out there to play some football. Cool. So just moving right along, let's incorporate some of these questions. So in high school, what did you want to be in high school? Did you envision yourself working for a sports team?
In high school, I feel like I always knew I wanted a career in sports, just because sports was such a big part of my life and ultimately made me happy. Initially, I was going to be a professional athlete. I lived and breathed, basketball and softball. I was going pro. I was going to the Olympics, all the above. But I think as time went on throughout high school, I started paying more attention to positions that involved working in sports behind the scenes. And I think that really got me interested of what is that? What are they doing? How does a game function? How does a team function? Things that maybe I didn't really pay attention to because I was playing. So the idea of sticking with sports and making a career out of it, I think was really exciting for me. I wasn't sure exactly what I wanted to do in the sports world or department, but knowing that there were career opportunities, I think got me really excited that regardless if I played or not, I can still make a career out of this.
That's just great. Can you maybe list a couple of the steps as far as when you decided to get more interested in the sports industry, a couple steps that you did that led you to where you are now?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think one is really evaluating my resume. So as I was looking at jobs, I wanted to make sure it was the right fit for me. So making sure, someone had an extra set of eyes on my resume, making sure that everything was up to date and intentional, even from a cover letter or whatnot. But networking. Networking is the secret to all. And not in the sense of saying, hey, I want a job, but hey, tell me a little bit about you. How did you get to where you were? Here's, what I'm looking at. Maybe there's some advice, which could lead to a mentor too. So I think I did a lot of networking, a lot of, we call them informational interviews. And then ultimately just preparing myself for whatever position I thought I was ready for. And they wanted to interview and take that next step. And prepare myself in the best way possible. But it's the same thing you do in sports. You prepare, you practice, and then it kind of translates right into kind of when you're ready to interview for a job. But, the practice part, having conversations, and, just being as prepared as possible are kind of the steps that I took.
Perfect. That's great. Thank you so much. Okay. So what's the coolest part about working with the Dodgers?
There's a lot of cool things. I'll kind of go through a few, but I think for me personally, I feel very fortunate that I get to wake up excited and passionate about the work I get to do. And it fuels me being able to provide sports-based youth development programming in order to make sure all youth have access to quality sports and safe places, I think ultimately is what drives me. From planning, programming to designing a brand new field, sometimes I just have to take a step back from being in all the weeds and all the logistics and just soak all that in, all that amazing, all the amazing plans that finally come together to see it in real life. And I think ultimately I get the opportunity every day to give back to a sport that gave me everything. So I think it's fulfilling and all those things just kind of add up for me. But some other cool pieces that I get to, pre-COVID, I get to work at Dodger Stadium, which is not a bad view at all. So I get to, be at the stadium and all that good stuff. And a couple weeks ago, I actually received my World Series ring as well. So
wow,
that's
so
for all
cool.
The participants out there,
Yeah.
this is the dream. No, but it was exciting to be part of it. And our staff was just, we felt like we were on the field. Feel like I caught the last out. But yeah, a lot of cool pieces. But I think the ring by far was probably the coolest thing this year.
Wow, that is so cool. So you're telling me that even if you don't play for the team, because you work for the organization, you still get to be a part of that championship and even have a championship ring?
Absolutely. Got a ring, got to take a picture with the trophy, and just experience that whole thing because yes, the players are out there and they won in the champ, but there's so much behind the scenes to make a championship year, and all the various departments. So just being part of that, it is pretty awesome.
Amazing. So now we're going to go with some of the students' questions. We have a question here from Lola, and the question is, who helps and guides you through your job? Do you feel like you have a mentor that inspires you?
Yeah, I am lucky with the Dodgers Foundation that I get to have a leadership group of 3 other amazing women. And having women leadership is actually kind of rare, but to me, it's what truly inspires me. They come from different backgrounds. They come from different career paths, and they all bring something unique to the table. So different perspectives, and then also adding my perspective in there, I think excites me. I do have some really amazing mentors that kind of have followed me throughout my career path and life, who know me, who have no problem checking me at times when I'm wrong or right, and to push me. So I think always having a close network is key. So when you're up, they're able to kind of boost you up there, but when you're down, they're able to be your rock. And kind of guiding myself through this process. I wouldn't be able to do it without them, but I just make sure to keep all my people close to me no matter what, because they know me the best. And that's really key and important as I continue to grow.
Thank you so much. And we have time for one more student question. And this question is from Lilia. Thank you for asking this question, Lilia. How did you find a mentor?
Yeah, it takes a little bit of time, but ultimately you kind of find people that maybe have something you're interested in. And for me, maybe someone was in a department that I wanted to learn more about. And I just developed a relationship where, we were able to talk about what I wanted to do, how I wanted to get there, and ultimately help me. They became my coach ultimately. So how are they creating a roadmap for me to become successful as I'm leading that way towards that path, from people that I've worked with to people that maybe I've come across from a meeting. I just always keep an open line of communication because, getting to know someone across your path, you should never turn that off. There's never you never want to not network because you just never know who's in the audience, who can help you, who can provide you valuable advice. So, to this day, I'm still growing my network. I'm still trying to find more mentors to add to my list that will fit me and help guide me to, the path that I ultimately want to continue on.
Wow, that was wonderful. Like so much great information. Your story is incredible. And that advice you just gave to everybody, I think is very actionable as well. So, I hope everybody, wherever you're sitting at in your homes, let's give Tiffany a round of applause. That was amazing. And thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Tiffany.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, moving right along, thank you once again to our panelists. Thank you, Tiffany. Thank you to the sports teams for lending their staff to lend y'all some knowledge. But moving right along, we are going to head into another spin. Okay, so hopefully we have people sticking it out here because we want to make sure that people, are able to win something. And then we're going to have one more spin after this. So Abea Ishmael, I think we have a winner. Abea stuck it out. We have a winner. Okay, Abea. So we're gonna send you some information on how we're gonna get you that prize. And now we're gonna go to the polls. Very quickly, y'all. I know it's 4:30. Very quickly, we're gonna go to these polls, and we're gonna have one more giveaway. So very quickly answer some of these questions. Let us know how satisfied you were with this event. And we're going to move through these kind of quickly because we're just at time here. Almost through. Thank you everyone for sticking through. Just a couple more questions and we have one more giveaway. Okay, how much do you agree with this statement? Because of this event, I am more interested in working on a sports team. Strongly agree, slightly disagree, or strongly disagree. Thank you. Last question. How likely are you to go to another Alliance event? Very likely, likely, you're not sure, unlikely, or very unlikely. Thank you for answering these questions. Okay, so now for our next events and what to look forward to. Okay, everybody, so if we have the next this next spin going on, we have one more winner. Okay, and do we have a winner? We got a winner, Justin Estrada. All right, Justin, that's you, that's right. So happy you were able to stick around. You won something from one of these teams. And that pretty much does it for us, everybody. Thank you once again for coming out to learn more about and for investing in your future, in your careers. Like I said before, there's hundreds of jobs that are available and open in each of these teams. And these teams really want to employ local Angelenos to work for them. They're a part of this city. You're a part of this city. So as you continue exploring what you want to do in life and continue being excellent in your sport, consider pursuing a career in the sports industry. And keep an eye out for other Alliance events. Okay, I think we got one more slide for everybody, and then we're gonna say our goodbyes. So if you wanna keep up with us, with Play Equity Movement and with the Alliance, you can look at our social media handles right there. You can follow us on all those social media handles if you wanna learn more about what we're doing, what we're about, more events like these and other events that are related to social justice and even our program activities. Follow us on one of these social media handles. Okay, everybody, that's it. Thanks again for sticking it through and have a great rest of your week. Thank you.
And they stay there, and they say yeah, and they stay there. Cause all I do is win, win, win. And if you going in, put your hands in the air, make them stay there. Ludacris going in on the verse, cause I never been defeated and I won't stop now. Keep your hands up, get them in the sky for the homies that ain't make it and my folks locked down. I never went nowhere, but they saying Luda's back. Blame it on that contour, the hood call it Luda yak. And I'm on this foolish track, so I spit my foolish flow. My hands go up and down, like strippers' booties go. My verses still be serving, tight like a million virgins. Last time on a college remix, now I'm on the original version. Can't never count me out, y'all better count me in. Got 20 bank accounts, accountants count me in. Make millions every year, the South's champion. Cause all I do is win, 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 no matter what. Got money on my mind, I can never get enough. And every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up. And they stay there, and they say yeah, and they stay there. Cause all I do is win, win, win. And if you going in, put your hands in the air, make them stay there. Swerving in my low, head on a swivel, serving me's a no-no. Clean as a whistle as I pull out in my Rolls Royce. Yellow bone passenger, they see it, they say, oh boy. Tell Kelly, back it up, my niggas call me loco. Down for armed trafficking, don't make me pull that fofo. Ask you what you laughing at, represent that mud life. Dirty money, bitch, you better get your mud right. We come together, holding hands and holler hood life. We all strapping all black, it's like Bud Light. Riding or what? Cause we riding tonight. Now she riding with me cause you wasn't riding. All I do is win, 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 no matter what. Got money on my mind, I can never get enough. And every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up. they stay there.